It's the International Soccer Preview. We are Soccerphiles Canada. Welcome to Series 32, looking at the players of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This episode is looking at the players of Panama. Part 1, the candidates. Here we go! Hello and welcome to the International Soccer Preview by Soccerphiles Canada. I'm Kevin and this is Series 32 on the players of the 2026 World Cup. This episode covers Panama's players. There are 48 teams in this World Cup, so that's more than we've done ever for one tournament. But as you might see from our serial number, we've been doing this for quite a while, and we have done mediacasts for the players of most of the teams, and most of them within the last couple of years, actually very recently for Panama. So if you're interested in looking into a team before we put out mediacasts for this tournament, you can check our back catalogue using the addresses on the screen or in the show notes. Okay, on with the show. We're doing this mediacast in two parts. Part 1 here is a look at the candidates for the squad and their likelihood of making it. We examine the participation of players in games over the recent period, as well as a couple of other factors, and categorize them into definite, likely, possible but unlikely, and seemingly off the squad. And we'll give more detail, introducing the players we think likely to reach the final squad, and less, perhaps even just the names of players unlikely to get there. Part 2 will come out when the squad lists are released and the final squad selected. That'll probably be in late May or early June. And at that time, we'll go back over the list that we create here today and see who made it and who didn't. We'll also cover a couple of other things in Part 2, like predicting starters, updating injuries, surprise selections, and so on. So this episode has 3 sections. In Section 1, we're just going to give some information on the team. Section 2 is the main part of the media cast. We're going to go through the candidates position by position and give their likelihood of selection and introduce players. And finally, in Section 3, we're going to review, basically a quick review of Section 2, and then we have some other concluding matters, including the injury situation for the squad. All right, let's move on to Section 1 then, some information on the team. And we're going to begin with recent games in the build-up to the Cup. Well, for Panama, we very recently covered them in the 2025 Gold Cup. So since then, they've only played 6 games. They were qualifying games. And so we do have the 2025 Gold Cup. That is not part of our participation count over this period, but we will be referring to it. That was 4 games in June of 2025. Panama unfortunately knocked out in the quarterfinals, a bit of a disappointing result for them there. And after that, we have the 6 games of World Cup qualifying for Panama from September to November of 2025. Our research for Part 1 here just goes up to the end of 2025. We do have some friendlies in January of 2025. We're going to see when we get to Part 2 whether we include them or not, because we think they may be just kind of experimental or recruitment games. And then in March of 2026, they have 2 friendlies scheduled for that. We'll talk about that when we get to upcoming games here. So really, just the 6 matches for us to look at since the last time we covered Panama. Let's look at the formations over those matches. We are going to include the 4 Gold Cup games in our analysis of the formations. And basically what we have is in 6 of the 10 games, or 60% of them, a 4-2-3-1 formation. That includes all 4 games of the Gold Cup. So a bit instructive that they only used that formation in 2 of the 6 World Cup qualifying games there. The only other one they used twice, sorry, is the 3-4-2-1 formation. They used that in 2 of the 10 games over the period, so 20% of the games. And then there were 2 formations that they used just once. We won't mention those formations, but we will add them into the analysis that I'm going to do now. Our analysis shows that over the 10 games, they used a 2-man central defense in 7 of the 10 games, or 70%. And that means in 3 of the game, so 30%, a 3-man central defense. So they are experimenting with a 3-man central defense there. And up at the other end of the field, they have used a single forward in 90% of the games over the recent period. So that means in just 1 of the games did they use a 2-man forward line, Panama. All right, the last order of business here is the upcoming games. I won't introduce the January games. I think we're going to save those for part 2. So let's just go directly to the March friendlies they have. In fact, both of them are against South Africa, and they are both in South Africa. So that's March 27th and March 31st. Actually, by the time you listen to this podcast, they will have been played. But we are saving them for part 2. And part of the reason for that is, as I said, we just did our research up to the end of 2025 for this mediacast here. They do have a scheduled pre-tournament friendly. That's on May 31st, and it'll take place in Brazil. They'll be playing Brazil there in Brazil. We wouldn't be surprised if they schedule at least 1 more friendly. We expect that they might want to schedule a game in the USA there, since they have a lot of fans there, but nothing scheduled so far. So again, in part 2, when we get closer to the Cup, we'll know a little bit more. Okay, that's it for part 1. Let's move on. Oh, sorry, for section 1. Let's move on to section 2. Or look at the players, and oh my god, I'm in the wrong spot. Yikes. Okay, here I go. We begin with the manager, and it is Thomas Christiansen, a Danish manager. He's been doing great for them with Panama since 2020, and good success over the period here. Thomas Christiansen is a Danish player and manager. Actually, played for the Spanish national team in 1996, but no international tournaments for Thomas Christiansen as a player. As a manager, prior to taking the helm of Panama from 2020, he was with a few successful teams there, Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium from 2019 to 2020, and Leeds United in England. Before that, he managed a couple of teams in Cyprus. But after taking Panama's really his claim to fame. He's taking them through 3 Gold Cups now in 2021, 23, and 25, as well as the Copa America in 2024, where they were one of only 2 CONCACAF teams, Canada and Panama, to pass the group stage. The bigger teams in the region, Mexico and USA, did not pass the group stage. So good performance there by Panama, and good performances in most of the Gold Cups as well, although just the quarterfinals in the most recent one. Nevertheless, Thomas Christiansen we're going to regard as a definite candidate here, and now we'll move on to the actual players. So we'll begin by listing the players, and then we'll go back over the major players to introduce them to you. There. So we begin with goalkeeper Orlando Mosquera. He's a definite candidate. And then we have Luis Mejia. He is a likely candidate. And then we have another likely candidate in Cesar Samudio. We don't have any at the possible level, but we have 2 at the possible but unlikely. The first one is J.D. Gunn, and the second one is Eddie Roberts. Let's take a look at these players. Orlando Mosquera has 45 caps for Panama since 2017, and he's 31 years old now. Hang on, I just got to adjust, adjust, and make sure that I'm right in that. No, 32 years old. Is what I have. 31 or 32, actually. I might be a year off in the ages that I give here. Mosquera is playing for a team in Saudi Arabia, Al Faya, since 2024, and with a team in Israel before that. And yeah, actually more in South America with teams in Venezuela and Bolivia, and also in Turkey. So quite experienced, quite a world traveler there. Orlando Mosquera's first tournament was the 2017 Gold Cup, and he wasn't actually selected for their 2018 Gold Cup, 2018 World Cup appearance, but otherwise was involved in every tournament since then. And since they play the Gold Cup every 2 years, he has been involved in a lot of tournaments since 2019. I'll just say, though, that he became a starter from the 2023 Gold Cup and has been starters in that and the two tournaments since. Over the recent period, he started all 6 games from after the Gold Cup in 2025, and so we expect him probably to be the starter, but a definite candidate, which is our interest in this media cast here. I'm just going to make the graphics a bit bigger there for our YouTube watchers. Our two likely candidates, you see that their name is in black script, and that means they have been through a tournament. So all but one of the goalies here with tournament experience. The first of our two likely candidates is Luis Mejia, and he has 55 caps for Panama since way back in 2009, and he is 35 years old now. I'm currently playing for Nacional in Uruguay, actually his second stint with them since 2024. He too has played mostly in South America recently. He had a short loan spell to Toulouse B in France there, and actually in Spain as well in 2009. In terms of tournaments, 2011, the 2011 Gold Cup was his period, so I don't want to go through all the many tournaments that he's been through. But I will say the only ones he missed were actually in 2016 and 2017, a Copa America Centenario there and a Gold Cup. Not called up to those tournaments, but otherwise called up all the time. He was a starter, though, only in the 2019 Gold Cup. Otherwise, he's been a backup keeper, and that is true right up until the 2025 Gold Cup here. And he didn't start any of their 6 games over the period, but he was on the bench for all 6 matches. So that's why we have Luis Mejia as a definite, or sorry, as a likely candidate. The other likely candidate is Cesar Samudio. He's fairly new to Panama since 2023 with 4 caps and no goals, but he's not a youngster. He's 32 years old, and he plays for Marathon in Honduras currently since 2023, and was otherwise with various teams in Panama. Cesar Samudio's first tournament was the 2023 Gold Cup, and he was also on the bench for the 2024 Copa America, but not selected for the 2025 Gold Cup, just on the preliminary squad there. After that, though, he did return after a 6-month absence in September of 2024 to appear on the bench for all 6 of the matches in this period. So we have him as a likely candidate, and let's take a look at our 2 possible but unlikely candidates. J.D. Gunn actually has no goals for Panama. He's with New England Revolution's B team in USA. And he was selected. He was the other one selected for the 2025 Gold Cup. However, he has not appeared for the national team since then, so not involved in any of those Gold Cup qualification games, World Cup qualification games in the fall of 2025. The other possible but unlikely candidate is Eddie Roberts, the only one without any tournament experience, but he's been around since 2019 with 3 caps for the national team. And I won't go into detail. He wasn't selected for any tournament from 2019 on. He returned after an 11-month absence. Oh, actually, in January of 2026. So I guess I did record information on those January 2026 games, but in fact, we're going to deal with them in part two. So I'll just leave it as it is for now. Eddie Roberts was supposed to come up in part two since he didn't appear in 2025. But there we have it. Anyway, a possible but unlikely candidate regardless. So those are our goalkeepers. It looks pretty straightforward there, actually. And let's move on to our defenders. And we begin with central defenders. And I'm lost in my script here. Okay, I got it. I'm back. We have Fidel Escobar as a definite candidate. Uh, he's an injury concern, which I will mention. We also have Jose Cordoba as a likely candidate, as well as Carlos Harvey. He's at the likely level as well. And at the possible level, 2 candidates, Edgardo Farina and Giovanni Ramos. And then none at the possible but unlikely level, but 3 seemingly off the squad: Eduardo Anderson, Eric Diaz, and Rainiel Perdomo. Okay, this is probably 2 positions, but maybe even 3, since they have experimented with a 3-man backline. So we're doing a kind of a big chunk of players here. Fidel Escobar is our definite candidate, and he has been with Panama since 2015 with 96 caps and 4 goals. So a real veteran there. He's 31 years old, and he plays for Saprissa in Costa Rica since 2023. A lot of these players have had loan spells or short appearances, but generally with smaller teams in Spain. Alcorcon was the team he was with for a couple of years in Spain, and loaned out to another or a couple of other Spanish teams. Fidel Escobar's first tournament was the 2016 Copa America Centenario, and he's been involved in all tournaments since, except for the Copa 2024. Copa America 2024. We had him as a definite candidate for that tournament, but he was unavailable due to injury. So otherwise, always called up. And ever since the World Cup in 2018, he's been a starter in all tournaments. He started all 6 games since the Gold Cup here, which is why he's a definite candidate. He also scored one of their 19 goals in qualifying. However, Fidel Escobar is out with a back injury since early January. So I guess I did go a little beyond January in the research here. And he has an unknown return date. So we'll have to update that in part 2, but that is a bit of a loss to Panama if they don't have him for the cup. The first of our 2 likely candidates is Jose Cordoba, and he has been with Panama since 2022 with 28 caps. He is 25 years old, and he is playing for Norwich in England since 2020 and was with Levski Sofia in Bulgaria before that. His first tournament, Jose Cordoba, was the 2024 Copa America, where he started and finished all 4 games. However, in the recent Gold Cup, he was just a substitute there. And over the recent period, he didn't start any of their 6 games, but he was subbed in for 1 and on the bench for the first 2. However, he was injured for the last 3 matches. He has recovered from that injury, and all in all, we consider him a likely candidate, although he may kind of not be a starter. That's what I'm trying to say. So I probably should have put Carlos Harvey ahead of him on the list because he was a starter in the recent Gold Cup. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Carlos Harvey has been with Panama since 2019 with 23 caps and 2 goals, and he is 26 years old and plays for Minnesota United in the USA since 2024. He moved to the USA from Panama in 2021. Actually played for LA Galaxy in the USA, but sometimes with the A team and sometimes with the B team. That's true of Minnesota United too, his current team. In terms of tournament, despite being with the team since 2019, he got his first tournament in the 2024 Copa America. In the 2021 and 2023 Gold Cups, he was on the preliminary squads for those who didn't make the final cut. Finally did for the 2024 Copa America, where he was a substitute. But for the 2025 Gold Cup, he was a starter in that cup. Over the recent period, he started 3 of their 6 games, Carlos Harvey, and subbed in for 1 and injured for 2 others there. He also scored a goal in qualifying, their only goal in a home draw with Guatemala there, and Carlos Harvey is a likely candidate. Next, we have Edgardo Farina, and he's been with Panama since 2023 with 15 caps and no goals. He's 25 years old, and he plays for Paris NN in Russia there since 2025. He was with Khimki in Russia before that. He moved from Panama to Russia in 2024, but did have a bit of loan time with the team in Guatemala in 2023 and 24. Edgardo Farino was on the preliminary squad for the 2023 Gold Cup. Didn't make the final cut there, but in the 2024 Copa America, he was a starter in all 4 games. However, for the recent Gold Cup in 2025, just a substitute in that one. And over the recent period, he started none of their 6 games, but he was on the bench for the last one. He was injured for the 5 before that. So they did actually struggle with injury, it seems, during the World Cup qualification there. The other possible candidate is Giovanni Ramos. He's been with Panama since 2020 with 20 caps and no goals, and is 29 years old. And he plays for Independiente. That's one of the bigger teams in Panama since 2020. But he has been loaned out to quite a few teams, actually, mostly in Venezuela, but also Alianza Lima in Peru in 2024. There. In fact, I think he's currently on loan to a team in Venezuela right now. I'm just not 100% sure my information is correct on that. He too is been with the team since 2020, but hasn't made any tournaments so far, often been on the preliminary squad of teams. But not quite making it. The 2024 Copa America, he was a likely candidate, but was ruled out due to injury. Over the recent period, he had returned after an 8-month absence in October of 2025. He started 2 of their remaining 4 games, but then on the bench for 1 and not selected for 1, and that was the last match. So all in all, we have Giovanni Ramos as a possible candidate. Next, we have Eduardo Anderson, and he has been with Panama since, he is seemingly off the squad, so I'm going to deal with him very quickly, and these players. He was a bench player basically in the 2023 Gold Cup and the 2024 Copa America, and not selected for the 2025 Gold Cup. So in fact, the Copa America there in 2024 was Eduardo Anderson's last appearance. Next, we have Eric Diaz. He was on the preliminary squad for the 2025 Gold Cup, but last appeared in February of 2025. Finally, Rainiel Perdomo, no tournament experience for him, even though he's been with the team since 2022. And he, like Eric Diaz, last appeared in February of 2025. I'm guessing that was kind of a recruitment game there. And that is it for central defenders. Let's move up to the left back position here. And I'm seeing that I made a mistake here. But we'll forge on. We have as a definite candidate Andres Andrade. My mistake was that I actually should have moved him to central defence because that's where he's been playing. But I'll come back to that and we'll correct it. We have another definite candidate in Eric Davies. In fact, three definite candidates here, even though it's just one position. The third one is Jorge Gutierrez. Beyond that, we go all the way down to seemingly off the squad players. And there we have Gabriel Brown and Omar Valencia. So we'll touch on them briefly, but let's go back and fix our mistake here. Andres Andrade. They have been using a three-man central defense, and he is the left central defender when they do that. But even with the two-man defense, Andres Andrade has been playing as a central defender, both in the Gold Cup and in here. So when we come to part two, you're going to find him. You're going to find him as a definite center back here. I'm going to move him, and that's where he will be. Anyway, let's talk about him, or at least introduce him. Andres Andrade has been with Panama since 2018 with 46 caps and 1 goal, and he is 27 years old here. And he's playing in Austria. He's playing for Lask Linz in Austria, actually his second stint with them since 2023. In between, he spent a year with Arminia Bielefeld in Germany there. And yes, he moved over from Panama actually in 2018 to play for those fairly small European clubs. In terms of tournaments, even though he was with the team since 2018, the 2023 Gold Cup was his first tournament. He actually was selected for the 2021 Gold Cup, but injured before the tournament. In the 2023 Gold Cup, he was a starter, as he was in the 2025 Gold Cup. Just as with the 2021 Gold Cup, he was injured for the 2024 Copa America, Andres Andrade. But over the recent period, he started all 6 games, again as a central defender there. So he is a definite candidate, and I've moved him to central defence. So the players playing left back include our first definite candidate here, Eric Davies, and he's a Centurion for Panama with 103 caps and 9 goals since 2010, and he's 35 years old here. And he's playing for Plaza Amador in Panama since 2025, but he was coming back there, having played in Brazil, Slovakia, and USA prior to that. In terms of tournaments, the 2011 Gold Cup was his first tournament. He was mostly a substitute up until the 2018 World Cup, and then from that point on, he was a starter. Except for the recent 2025 Gold Cup, he was just a substitute in that tournament. So really has been sharing duties, left back duties, with Jorge Gutierrez, who we'll meet right away here. Over the recent period, though, Eric Davies started 5 of the 6 games and was subbed in for the other, and he scored 2 goals. He's their penalty taker, or at least takes a lot of their penalties. Eric Davis, a definite candidate here, uh, and a veteran for the squad. The other one, Jorge Gutierrez, has been with Panama since 2022 with 14 caps and no goals, and he is 28 years old and plays for a team in Venezuela since 2023. Was with in Panama with Toro before that. That he was loaned out to a team in Spain there. For tournaments, Jorge Gutierrez, his first tournament was the 2025 Gold Cup, actually. Started all 4 games there, but over the recent period only started one of the 6 games. He was, though, subbed in for 2 and on the bench for the other 3. So the definite backup for left back position here. And Jorge Gutierrez, though doesn't seem to be the starter, is a definite candidate. And beyond that, we just have players at the possibly off the squad level. So Gabriel Brown was on the preliminary squad for the 2025 Gold Cup, but didn't make the final cut, and last appeared in February of 2025. That was an experimental or a recruitment game there. Omar Valencia, though, a bit more experienced for the squad. He's been involved in the 2 tournaments, the 2023 Gold Cup and 2024 Copa America, but not in the 2025 Gold Cup. In fact, he last appeared for the national team in March of 2025. So he seems to be off the squad. I actually am going to move him to possible, but unlikely, because he did appear in 2025, and I think there is a slight chance of him coming back, especially if there's an injury. Okay, that is it for our look at the left backs. Let's go on to the right backs, and we begin with a definite candidate in Cesar Blackman. And we also have a definite candidate in Michael Murillo there. So we'll take a look at those 2 players. Otherwise, we only have 1 player at the possible level, and it is Ivan Anderson. So let's look at these players. Cesar Blackman with Panama since 2019 with 35 caps and 3 goals, and he is 28 years old. And plays for Slovan Bratislava in Slovakia. That's his second team, actually, in Slovakia. He was with Dunajska Streda for 6 years. Before that, he moved to Europe in 2017. In terms of tournaments, though, he was on the preliminary squad for the 2019 Gold Cup. Didn't make the cut there and wasn't selected for the 2021 Gold Cup either, but he was selected for the 3 after that. The 2023 and 2025 Gold Cups, just a substitute in those. He started as a substitute in the 2024 Copa America, but gained a starting position from game 2 onwards there. So really the only tournament he was a starter in. Recently, Blackman has started 2 of the 6 games, actually the last 2 of the 6 games there, but he was subbed in for 1 and on the bench for 3 others. Also scored a goal in qualifying. So Cesar Blackman, a definite candidate there. Probably I should have put Michael Murillo ahead because he does seem like the starter, and he has been with Panama since 2016 with 90 caps and 9 goals. And Michael Murillo is 29 years old now and plays for Besiktas in Turkey since 2026. So probably the player with the biggest club affiliation, not just Besiktas, but prior to that was with Marseille in France for 3 years and Anderlecht in Belgium for 2 years. So some very good credentials there from Michael Murillo. His first tournament was the 2017 Gold Cup, and he's been involved in all tournaments since then, except the 2021 Gold Cup. He was on the preliminary squad but didn't make the final squad for that. Otherwise, he really has been a starter in all tournaments, so I'm not really sure what happened there for the 2021 Gold Cup. Over the recent period, he has started four of their six games. Oh, he started the first four. That's perhaps why I had Blackman ahead of him, because we have a bit of a recency bias here. Um, Started the first four of their six games, and he was injured for one and not selected for one. Nevertheless, we consider Michael Murillo a definite candidate, and we will leave him behind Cesar Blackman because he started the last two of the games. Finally, we have at the possible level Ivan Anderson, been with Panama since 2019 with 13 caps and one goal, and he is 29 years old, and he is with Universitario in Panama since 2026, but he had been playing outside there with teams in Honduras. Actually, the big teams in Honduras, it's Marathon in Honduras and Monagas in Venezuela. He was actually loaned to a team in Brazil in 2024 for Fortaleza. So those are fairly decent teams over in this part of the world or that part of the world. And for tournaments, Ivan Anderson, his first tournament was the 2023 Gold Cup. Although he had been around since 2019, and then he has played in all three both tournaments since then, the Copa America in 2024 and the 2025 Gold Cup. But he actually rarely gets on the field. Didn't get on the field at all for the last two tournaments and just a little bit in the 2023 Gold Cup. Didn't get on the field as a starter, at least, for the recent games. Didn't start any of the six games. On the bench for two and not selected for four others. So just a possible candidate here, and maybe even possible, but unlikely. I think the fact that he had been selected for the last three tournaments bumped us up to possible, but not a strong candidate there. All right, that's it for the defence, and we move on to the midfield. We're going to begin with defensive midfielders, and we have a definite candidate in Adalberto Carrasquilla there, and also a definite candidate, Annabelle Godoy. And the likely candidate also here, we have Edward Cedeno, and a possible candidate in Victor Griffith. Seemingly off the squad is Giovanni Welsh. No, sorry, he is possible but unlikely. And then we have Abdil Ayarza, who is seemingly off the squad. So quite a few candidates to deal with there, but I will tell you that we have no candidates actually coded as a central midfielder. The truth is there's not a lot of difference between the two, and these players may play as defensive or as central midfielders here. And we have a few right midfielders coming up who also sometimes play in the central midfield. Let's look at the candidates. Adalberto Carrasquilla has been with Panama since 2018 with 71 caps and 3 goals, and he is 28 years old. He plays for Pumas in Mexico since 2025 and was with Houston Dynamo in the USA from 2022 to 25, and with Cartagena in Spain before that. So a very talented player. He really came on in the 2023 Gold Cup there. Very impressive tournament. But let's go through his history. He really didn't make much of an impression on me in tournaments before then. In fact, he wasn't selected for the 2018 World Cup or the 2019 Gold Cup. Was a starter in the 2021 Gold Cup, but really big, was prominent in the 2023 Gold Cup there. I think he was named to the team of the tournament Oh, yes, he was. And he won the Golden Ball Award for Best Player of the tournament. So there we have it at Alberto Carrasquilla. Also, was part of the Copa America 2024 squad. He took a red card in that tournament there. And but not part of the Gold Cup in 2025 because he was injured for that one. However, he was fit shortly after because he started all 6 games in the fall of 2025. So at Alberto Carrasquilla, I'm hoping we'll see the best of him in the Cup because he was so impressive in that 2023 Gold Cup. The other definite candidate is Annabelle Godoy. He's the captain of the team with an impressive 157 caps and 4 goals from 2010. Annabelle Godoy is now 36 years old and plays for San Diego FC in the USA since 2024. He's been with several teams in the USA all the way back to 2015. That includes Nashville SC and San Jose Earthquakes. And prior to that, he actually played for a team in Hungary for a couple of years. In terms of tournaments, Godoy was part of the Gold Cup in 2011. That was his first tournament, so I won't go through all the many tournaments that he has been part of, but kind of off the team for the 2019 and the 2021 Gold Cups. He was injured for both of those. He was selected for the final squad in both cases and replaced. So those are the only tournaments he's missed. And oh, I'm sorry. He was also injured for the 2024 Copa America. They considered that a pretty big loss there. He had been a definite candidate. But in the 2 recent Gold Cups, 2023 and 2025, he was a captain and a starter. So Annabelle Godoy started 4 of their 6 games over the period here, subbed in for 1 and suspended on yellows for 1. But he is a definite candidate. I think I'm starting to get a cold here. Okay, let's move on to the likely candidate, Edward Cedeno, and he is with Panama since 2025 with 5 caps and no goals. He's 23 years old and plays for Las Palmas in Spain since 2025, actually loaned out to Albacete since 2026. Prior to that, he was in Panama until 2024, where he was loaned out to a team in Spain and has been playing there ever since. The 2025 Gold Cup is his only tournament. He was a substitute in that cup and hasn't started any of their games over this period, but he was subbed in for 2 and on the bench for 4 others. Edward Cedeno has been out with a hamstring injury since January of 2026. However, he is expected back before the Cup. Not long before the Cup, actually, May 31st is his return date. So it may be a bit difficult for him to get build up the fitness in time for the Cup. But perhaps we can give more specific information in part 2. Let's look at our possible candidate, Victor Griffith, and he has been with Panama since 2020 with 16 caps and no goals. He's 26 years old, plays for St. Johnstone in Scotland. No, wait, he's on the roster for St. Johnstone in Scotland. He's actually playing for Emelec in Ecuador on loan to them since 2026. And he's also had a short stint in America, and was also with a team in Costa Rica. In terms of tournaments for Victor Griffith, he was part of the 2021 Gold Cup, but not the 2023 Gold Cup or the Copa America after that. But he was recalled to the 2025 Gold Cup. So it's 2021 and 2025, and not selected for the 2 tournaments in between those. However, he last appeared for the team in the 2025 Gold Cup, so not called up for any of the 6 World Cup qualification matches. But in this case, we have him as a possible level because the Gold Cup in 2025 was really only about 7 months ago. So it's still quite possible he could be recalled. Our possible but unlikely candidate is Giovanni Welch, with Panama since 2022, with 20 caps and 1 goal. And he is 27 years old and plays in Panama since 2018 with Alianza, another one of the big teams. But he has been loaned out to teams in Bolivia, Venezuela, and Colombia, and Portugal as well. In fact, he's currently on loan to a Bolivian team called The Strongest, one of my favorite names in world football. Been on loan to them since 2026. Giovanni Welsh was first selected for the Gold Cup in 2023, and he was part of the 2024 Copa America squad. Started as a sub there, but gained a starting position. However, was not selected for the 2025 Gold Cup. He did actually play. He was off the team for 18 months. He did actually come back for the January games in 2026. So I guess I am including a bit of information on those games. So he has come back to the team fairly recently, is what I'm saying. And so he is a possible but unlikely candidate. I'm looking forward to see in the March games if he's selected. I think that'll be telling for Giovanni Welsh. Finally, we have seemingly off the squad Abdiel Ayarza, and he's been part of a couple of tournaments, the 2021 Gold Cup and the 2024 Copa America, but not selected for the 2023 Gold Cup and injured for the recent Gold Cup. Last appeared for the national team back in October of 2024, so he seems to be off the team, although there is a chance there. Moving on to central midfielders, we don't actually have any players coded as central midfielders, which is a bit odd, but we do have some coded as left and right midfielder, and really Christian Martinez, who I'll introduce as a right midfielder shortly, could be considered a central midfielder. But let's look at the player coded as a left midfielder. That is Jose Murillo, and he's at the possible but unlikely level. So I won't dwell on him too much, but really on the fringes of Panama. He's been with Panama since 2016, but only has 7 caps for them and has never been called up for a tournament there. Nevertheless, he remains on the fringes, having been called back to the team after an 8-month absence in October of 2025. Where he was on the bench for 2 matches, but not selected for the last 2 matches. So really a bit of a fringe player, Jose Murillo, but possible if unlikely. Let's go to the right midfielders, and a fairly major player here in Christian Martinez. He's a definite candidate. He's coded as a right midfielder, but during this period, he played half his games as a central midfielder and half of them as a left attacking midfielder. So we just decided to leave him as a right midfielder here. Christian Martinez has been with Panama since 2016 and has 62 caps and 2 goals there. And he is playing for a team in Israel right now since 2025, but has a lot of experience in a lot of countries, Spain and Saudi Arabia among them, as well as USA. But I won't go into his really varied club career. Instead, I'll talk about his tournament history. And again, a bit like at Alberto Carrasquilla, where he really wasn't a name for the squad or didn't make much of an impression until fairly recently. So even though Christian Martinez was with the team since 2016, he wasn't selected for any tournament up until 2023. But he's actually been pretty impressive to watch, I feel, anyway, ever since there. In the 2023 Gold Cup, he was a sub and then in the 2024 Copa America and the recent Gold Cup was a starter. So he has become a more significant player for them as time goes. Recently, he has started 4 of their 6 games, subbed in for 1, and suspended on yellows for 1. But we see Christian Martinez as a definite candidate. We have I should have introduced all of the players before talking about Martinez. Let me do that now. At the possible level, all of these players coded as right midfielders. Omar Brown and also Cesar Yanis at the possible level. And then seemingly off the squad, Irving Godino. Okay, something odd happened there. There we go. Let's take a look at Omar Brown and Cesar Yanis. Omar Brown with the team since 2019, but only 15 caps for them. He's 32 years old. He's played mostly in Panama. I won't go into detail. He was part of the 2019 Gold Cup squad as a substitute, but has not been selected since then. However, he has played for the team. He returned after a 2.5-year absence in October 2025 and was subbed in for 2 and on the bench for 2 matches. So a possible candidate there, Omar Brown. The other possible is Cesar Yanis, been with Panama since 2020 with 55 caps and 5 goals. And he is 30 years old and plays for San Carlos in Costa Rica. But actually, again, I'm not sure if this loan is still going, but he's with Cobrasol in Chile since 2025. I think that loan may have ended. Otherwise, he was mostly in Panama, and Cesar Yanis' first tournament was the 2021 Gold Cup. And he's been part of every tournament since, though never as a starter, always kind of a bench player, Cesar Yanis. And the same is true over the recent period, didn't start any games, but was on the bench for the first 2 and not selected for the last 4. So maybe even possible, but unlikely for Cesar Yanis. Finally, we have at the seemingly off the squad level, Irving Godino, and he last appeared in February 2025. He was a consideration for the 2023 Gold Cup, so kind of has been around, but not selected for any tournaments since his first cap in 2020. So, and on top of that, Irving Godino is an injury concern, so it doesn't look like he'll make this cut. Okay, that is it. A bit odd with no central midfielders, but we've covered the midfield in general. We're going to move up to attacking midfielders, and we're going to start with a versatile attacking midfielder. It's Edgar Barcenas. He's just a possible candidate at this point, but a real veteran for the squad, actually. He has 99 caps and 10 goals since 2014 and is currently playing in Mexico, has been with teams in Mexico since 2018. He's been part of a lot of tournaments. His first was the 2017 Gold Cup. In fact, he's been part of all of the tournaments since then, all the way up to the 2024 Copa America. He too, in the 2023 Gold Cup, was named to the team of the tournament. So a pretty significant player for Panama, but he was injured for the Gold Cup in 2025. And we're not really sure where that leaves him. He's 33 years old there. And he did return actually after the Gold Cup, returned after a 10-month absence, had been mostly injured during that period. But from September 2025, he started 3 of their remaining 6 games, subbed in for 1 and not selected for the last 2 matches. So over the past little while has been kind of in and out of the team. So we have Edgar Barcenas as a possible candidate. And position-wise, he's a bit hard to pin down. But during this period, he started both as a right attacking midfielder and a left attacking midfielder. So we'll expect if he shows up or if he's selected, we'll expect to see him in the attacking end of the field somewhere. Let's move on to left attackers, though. And here we have a definite candidate in Ismail Diaz. Um, and we have, beyond that, actually, just two at the possible but unlikely level, Cahis Orlenes and Jan Paul Morales there. So Ismail Diaz is the main man over here, but don't forget Barcenas. He has also shown up in this position. Let's look at Ismail Diaz. Since 2014, he's been on the national team and has 53 caps and 17 goals. And is 29 years old. He's playing in Mexico for Leon in Mexico since 2024, and was with Universidad Católica in Chile, one of the bigger teams in Chile, for 3 years before that. He's also played briefly in Spain and Uruguay and Portugal. A little trouble getting onto the team after 2014 on the preliminary squad for the 2015 Gold Cup, but didn't make the cut. And actually surprisingly selected for the Copa America Centenario in 2016, but withdrew from the squad there. Kind of been in and out of tournaments here. Was on the 2017 Gold Cup and in the World Cup 2018 squad, but then missed the two tournaments after that, not selected for those tournaments. Then in the 2023 Gold Cup, made a strong impression, very good there, scored a hat-trick in 9 minutes there in one of the games, and a very impressive tournament for him there. And yet he was just on the bench for the 2024 Copa America. So I do see Ismail Diaz as a bit in and out in terms of being a starter. But he was a starter in the 2025 Gold Cup. He scored another hat-trick there and won the Golden Boot Award. He was top scorer of the tournament, got 6 of Panama's 11 goals there. So quite hot and cold, I would say, Ismail Diaz. Over the recent period, he started 3 of their 6 games, subbed in for 1 and on the bench for 2 others. So a definite candidate for selection. And yet, despite some amazing moments in his career, not necessarily a starter for Panama there. That is Ismail Diaz. And next we go down to the possible but unlikely Cahis Orlenes. And he was part of the, I'm going to not go into detail on him here, part of the 2024 Copa America squad and the 2025 Gold Cup squad. Just a sub if he got on the field at all in those tournaments, but actually for the 2025 Gold Cup, he was on the roster but didn't appear on the bench for any of the games there. He last appeared then in February of 2025, really. Despite being named to the Gold Cup squad. Next, we have Jan Paul Morales, also possible but unlikely. He was part of the Gold Cup squad, on the bench for all games there, but hasn't appeared since. So a possibility, but unlikely. We think. Let's move over to right attackers. As a definite candidate, we have Jose Luis Rodriguez. Actually plays pretty much equally on the left and on the right, but has been a bit more on the right or maybe even central during this period. Not so much on the left, though, which is his primary coding. He's a definite candidate, Jose Luis Rodriguez. Beyond him, we have at the possible but unlikely level, Alberto Quintero. So let's look at these players, both of them very experienced Jose Luis Rodriguez has, since 2018, 66 caps and 8 goals. He's 28 years old and he's playing in Mexico since 2025. But he was actually with Red Star Belgrade in Serbia since 2024. And has played for teams in Portugal and Spain prior to that, and Belgium too. His first tournament, Jose Luis Rodriguez, was the 2018 World Cup, where he started all 3 games. But in the 2019 Gold Cup, he was just on the bench and kind of has rising and falling fortunes with the national team in terms of being a starter. For the 2023 Gold Cup, he was injured, but otherwise has been part of all tournaments. And over the recent period, Jose Luis Rodriguez has started 3 of their 6 games and subbed into the other 3, and also scored 3 of their 19 goals in qualifying. So we have him as a definite in terms of reaching the squad, but not necessarily a starter. Again, we have Barcenas sometimes starting over here. Next, we have possible but unlikely candidate Alberto Quintero. He is a real veteran for the team since 2007 with 140 caps and 7 goals. I'm not going to do the whole history of him, but he has been part of tournaments since the 2011 Gold Cup. Was injured, sadly, for the 2018 Gold Cup there, 2018 World Cup, I should say, and his last tournament was the 2023 Gold Cup. Didn't make either of the last 2 tournaments, the 2024 Copa America or the 2025 Gold Cup. But he has been around. He was returned to the team after about a year and a half absence in November 2025, and was subbed in for both of those games. So Alberto Quintero, possible but unlikely there. Maybe making him that much more unlikely is his age. He's 39 years old there, so getting up there for a soccer player. Okay, and then we, normally we do central attackers, but we don't have any players coded as central attacker. But I think I did say that we saw Jose Luis Rodriguez as a central attacker when they do play a 4-2-3-1 formation. But we're going to move on to the forward line. We do have a secondary striker here, and that is Thomas Rodriguez. He's at the likely level. There, he's the only one, so I can go straight into introducing him. Thomas Rodriguez has been with Panama since 2022 with 11 caps and 3 goals. He is 29 years old. Sorry, make that 27 years old. And his first tournament was the Gold Cup in 2025. And he subbed into game 1 there, but gained a starting position for the next 3 games. However, over the recent period, he hasn't started any of their 6 games, just subbed in for 1 and on the bench for 5 matches there. Yes, but regularly called up recently. So Thomas Rodriguez likely to be selected for the squad, we think. Okay, let's go to the last category of players. That's the forwards. Think centre forwards here. We have Cecilio Waterman as a definite candidate. Also added as a definite candidate, Jose Fajardo. And then we have as a possible candidate, Asiaris Londono. Possible but unlikely, we have Eduardo Guerrero and Gustavo Herrera, both of those players. And then also 2 players seemingly off the squad, Freddy Gondolo and Alfredo Stevens. There, let's go back and meet these candidates. Oops. Beginning with the definite candidate, Cecilio Waterman. And he has been with the team since way back in 2010 with 50 caps and 14 goals. And he is 35 years old and plays for a team in Chile since 2026. Actually, he has been with two teams in Chile recently and then two teams in Peru before that. But he spent a long time with Phoenix in Uruguay, 2011 to 2017. And uh, yeah, did kind of return to Panama for a while in between there. In terms of tournaments, though, it's very mixed. He was part of the 2013 Gold Cup, Cecilia Waterman, but then his next tournament after that was the 2023 Gold Cup, so a 10-year gap in between there. And that's his only recent tournament because for the 2024 Copa America and 2025 Gold Cup, he was injured. But over the recent period, Cecilia Waterman did start three of their six games and was subbed in to the other three. He scored two goals. So we have him as a definite candidate, not necessarily as a starter, but to make the squad. Also definite is Jose Fajardo, and he's been with Panama since 2017 with 64 caps and 17 goals. He's 33 years old, and he's playing in Chile at the moment. Has been with them since being loaned out to them in 2024. He has also played in USA, Peru, and Ecuador. Jose Fajardo's first tournament, well, he was selected for the preliminary squad for the World Cup in 2018, but didn't make the cut. However, he has been part of all tournaments since then. I'm just realizing I'm making a mistake here because he wasn't part of the 2025 Gold Cup squad there. He was actually a definite candidate and selected for the squad, but he was injured before the tournament. Jose Fajardo has started three of their six games over the period, so sharing duties with Cecilia Waterman. He also subbed in for three, so is a definite candidate, and he got three of their goals in qualifying over the period as well. So Jose Fajardo, also a definite candidate. Let's go to the possible candidate, Azarias Londono. And I should have actually probably moved him to right attacking midfielders because his only two starts during this period were in that position. But he is coded as a forward, so we'll leave him here. I'm going to put him there, though, in part two. So I'm going to make that move now, but I will continue introducing him here. Azarias Londono has been with the team since 2022 with 11 caps and one goal, and is 25 years old. And he's currently playing in Panama, or at least on the roster of Alianza, one of the bigger teams in Panama. But he's been loaned out to teams in Ecuador and Guatemala and in Portugal as well there. And Londono's first tournament was the 2023 Gold Cup. He was a sub in that tournament, not selected for the 2024 Copa America, but also a sub in the 2025 Gold Cup. Recently, he started two of their six games, subbed in for one, on the bench for one, and not selected for two matches. Those were the September 2025 matches. So there we have it, Azarias Londono, and I've moved him to right attacking midfielder. That's where you'll see him in part two. Okay, the possible but unlikely Eduardo Guerrera is the first of two players that I'll introduce here, and I won't go into too much detail. He was with Panama since 2017, but in fact his first tournament was the 2024 Copa America, and he was selected for that and the 2025 Gold Cup, but last appeared in that Gold Cup, so not selected for any of their 6 recent World Cup qualifying matches, Eduardo Carrera. The other possible but unlikely is Gustavo Herrera. He's very young, just 19 years old. Selected for the Gold Cup in 2025, but not even on the bench for any of the 4 games. And that was the last time he appeared for the national team. So again, not selected for any of the recent World Cup friendlies. 2 players seemingly off the squad. The first one is Freddie Gondola, and he was part of the 2023 Gold Cup and the 2024 Copa America, but last appeared in October 2024, so quite a while ago now. Alfredo Stevens, his only tournament was the 2015 Gold Cup, but he's been around all the time since, sometimes making preliminary squads, actually for 3 tournaments in between, but never actually making a tournament after the 2015 Gold Cup. But he has been around, as I say, last appearing for the national team in March of 2024. So Alfredo Stevens, though, does seem to be off the squad. All right, that brings us to the end of our look at the players, and we're going to start section 3. We're going to start with a quick review of the candidates and their likelihood, basically a race through what we covered in section 2. And we're doing this partially because we're creating a short version of the media cast with this. Hello, short version audience. So here we go. After this review, we'll have a couple of concluding matters for the full length podcast. Okay, we have manager Thomas Christiansen. He's been with them since 2020 and had good success, so we consider him a definite candidate. For goalkeepers, we have a definite candidate in Orlando Mascara and 2 likely candidates, Luis Mejia and Cesar Samudio. So those look like they're going to be the 3 goalkeepers for the Cup. We have a couple at the possible but unlikely level, but we're not going to, in this quick review, talk about those or players who seem to be off the squad. So we have our 3 goalkeepers there. Let's move on to central defenders. 2 definite candidates here, Fidel Escobar and Andres Andrade. And then 2 likely candidates, Jose Cordoba and Carlos Harvey. I forgot to mention in the main media cast that he did appear as a defensive midfielder in 1 game too. 2 possible candidates for central defense, Edgardo Farina and Giovanni Ramos. So those are our 6 candidates. They do usually bring 5 or 6 to a Cup. Over we go to left backs, and we have 2 definite candidates, Eric Davis and Jorge Gutierrez, and that's all we have over here, so we'll probably see both of those on the roster. Not dissimilar for right backs, 2 definite candidates, Cesar Blackman and Michael Murillo. And we do have one at the possible level, though, Ivan Anderson. Upfield, we go to defensive midfielders, and we have 2 definite candidates, Adalberto Carrasquilla and Anibal Godoy. He's the captain of the team. We also have a likely candidate in Edward Cedeno and a possible candidate in Victor Griffith. A bit oddly, we don't have any characters coded as central midfielders, but we do have some coded as left and right midfielders who probably play central midfield if they get on the field. For left midfielders then, well, none, because we just had one at the possible but unlikely level who I won't mention. But for right midfielders, we have Christian Martinez as a definite candidate, but plays as a central midfielder or else as an attacking midfielder. And then 2 at the possible level, Omar Brown and Cesar Yanis. Upfield we go to left attacking midfielders. Here we have a definite candidate in Ismail Diaz, but I should say we have a possible candidate also in Edgar Yol Barcenas. I actually put him as a versatile attacker because he appears in various positions up front. So Barson is a possible candidate. Ismail Diaz, a definite left attacking midfielder there. For right attacking midfielders, we have a definite candidate also. It's Jose Luis Rodriguez. And we have a possible candidate in Asiaris Londono. We don't have any players coded as central attacking midfielders, even though they do use a 4-2-3-1 formation sometimes. But we do have a secondary striker, Thomas Rodriguez. He's at the likely level. And our last category is forwards. We have a definite candidate, two definite candidates, Cecilio Waterman and Jose Fajardo. And then nothing beyond that, just a few at the possible but unlikely level or lower. So that's it, a fairly small squad there for Panama. Let's go on to section 3. And well, we have a section for big names off the squad, but since they last played in the 2025 Gold Cup, we don't have anyone kind of retiring or falling off the squad since then. So let's go on to a review of injuries. Here we have a couple to deal with. The first one is central defender Fidel Escobar. He's a definite candidate. He's out with a back injury since early January and an unknown return date. So they'll certainly hope to be getting him back for the tournament. The other one is Edward Cedeno. He's a defensive midfielder and a likely candidate, and he's out with a hamstring injury from January of 2026. However, he is expected back on May 31st, 2026. We just wonder if he will have time to build up fitness and participate in the tournament. But we'll update that in part 2. Edward Cedeno, then, an injury concern. Closing thoughts for Panama. Well, it's a small squad. It's kind of a bit of an older squad there, but I think far less naive than the squad with many of the same players that went into the 2018 World Cup. They played a lot of tournaments since and had some good success since. So Panama, I think, looking good going into this tournament, but I think they will have to think about some renewal after the tournament because quite a few players in their 30s here. Okay, let's preview part 2. Part 2 is going to be focused on the selection, so we're going to do it once the rosters are published. The final roster and perhaps a preliminary roster. And we'll go through the list again that we created today, but we'll highlight any surprises. That would be any notable non-selections or any unexpected inclusions or any new players there. We will update the injuries, including the ones we did here in part 1 and any new injuries that come up. And finally, one of the things we do in part 2 is try to predict who the starters are going to be. So part 1 here just focused on players making the squad or their chances of making the squad. Part 2, we can start thinking about predictions of starters. Okay, that brings us to the end of our look at Panama's players, and we hope that gets you into the World Cup more. Knowing the players does kind of get me into the World Cup. And stay tuned for part 2 and for our look at other teams.
We would like to thank Michael Foster and Pixabay for the wonderful music in this mediacast. The title of the piece used is Look to the Sky, Tribal Dance Beats Native American.